Yeah. So what I'm saying about Brighton, Newcastle, they showed consistency throughout. It wasn't one-off games where basically they would show up, get a result, or next game play totally different and get a result. There was one style of football. So I'm looking at those clubs and thinking like, fuck. Like, you got them, you got the top 6. Any club outside of that is looking at 16 games like I'm showing you out of the season. I'm saying, this is going back to my point of how competitive it is now compared to back 10 years ago.
That's why I said I agree.
Like is going to be crazy.
I think team for team, yes, but not player for player.
Yeah, but I think now it's going to be like, you're looking at the Arsenal's, Man City's, these are the only 2 teams that's going to compete. It's not going to be that easy.
Can I interject? You know when we're talking about in terms of quality, as in quality, I think the disparity has closed.
Yeah.
As in the gap has closed. But just because the gap was at 90 and it's now at 70, and then the ones that are at 30 are now at 60, doesn't mean that the ones before were still at 30 and it was at 100. That's what I mean.
I get what you mean, but if you drop De Bruyne back in those times, they would rate him along the same line.
Yeah, he's not special.
To you, it's not.
That's what I said.
No, it's to you.
That's what I said.
No, Slim.
If you put De Bruyne in that era of centre mid,
let me say this.
Are you okay?
Hold on.
Are you okay?
Let me say this. Slim, hear me out.
What's done?
Wait, hold on, Slims.
You put De Bruyne in that era of centre mids. What are you saying? He's outshining Zidane. Is that what you're going to tell me now? He's outshining Seydorf and them, man. No. Shut up.
Nah, man's gone.
I got that on. It's on wax.
Hold on.
Let Zig dead.
I'm on Kel's side for this reason.
What?
This reason only. Hear me out. I let everyone land. Let me land. All I'm saying is that when you look player for player, what Kel said about the numbers makes sense. All I'm saying is that back then, I'm not going to say Kevin De Bruyne is not special. He's amongst the special, but he's not sticking out like he's sticking out now.
That's what I'm saying.
I think there are players back then with the Zidanes, there was more.
Yeah.
At the quality of what Kevin De Bruyne is producing right now, there was more of that back then.
Facts.
For player in midfield and creative players.
Prime Beckham is better than De Bruyne.
We don't talk about Rui Costa, for instance. And that's an elite player. And the reason why we don't talk about him is because
the streets don't remember.
Just like we're saying now, the reason why we don't talk about him is because he was special, but then we had X, Y, Z. Guti at Real Madrid, special player.
He's my most underrated player. So
But that's what I'm trying to say to you.
Right now, he would stick out.
But that's what I'm trying to say.
Like
right now, because there's not a lot. Because
okay,
wait.
He's the most. Listen to what I said. He's the most underrated. So to me, he does stick out.
But that's what I'm trying to say to you. Nowadays, player for player, Kevin De Bruyne is the best midfielder in the world. And the fact that Modric and Kroos is still doing what they're doing as well.
At their age?
That's fine. We can talk about age, but the fact of the matter is that shows and proves me and Kel's point. At the age that they are at, they're still at the top of the game. When Zidane and these guys were around, there was so much quality. Age never even was a part of the conversation. These guys were just quality. When you look at, there's no one taking these other guys' spots. Kevin De Bruyne, what Kevin De Bruyne is doing right now, we won't see again for a minute. Because you can't tell me the next midfielder that's up. Jude ain't got an inch of what Kevin De Bruyne has got.
2 different players.
No, but that's the whole point. This is the whole point.
That's the point he's making.
That's the whole point.
There was loads of guys that could do that stuff.
That being like, for me, is the best.
You talking about?
There's no one close.
You even talk about Modric at 37. Modric is one of the greatest midfielders to play the game.
Yeah,
to ever play the game.
And
so
Toni Kroos.
Do you know why? Do you know why he stands out?
Why would Bayern Munich ship around the idea of letting Goretzka and Kimmich go? If they're at that level, if they are this. Obviously, football's more than just...
Not Kimmich.
Yeah, no, there was a conversation for Kimmich as well.
They're trying to sell. They said
they were trying to sell him
he's
as well.
open for sale.
There was big conversations
unless
about
they
it.
sell them, man, I'm not hearing that.
But what I'm saying is that when we look quality for quality...
Bro, it's not the same.
Back then, quality for quality was different conversation.
You know what?
Listen to what I'm saying.
This is 1 minute. Yeah, you know what makes it unfair, right?
Look, when he shines.
These guys have a massive pool compared to the current pool. Current pool is always be smaller than the past pool. You agree with that, right?
Yeah.
But let's go back to the wild statement of the day.
Let's
Let's go back to the wild statement of the day, right?
It's because he's seen the work.
De Bruyne.
That's what he's basically saying.
Is not in De Bruyne, who's played in the league, which is much more competitive. Okay, the quality.
The league's not that competitive.
The quality, go on.
The league's not really that competitive. City has won how many?
You said
City have won 5 of the last 6 Prems, and the league's competitive. Who's really the farmers?
How much Prems did United win?
9 in a row, 3 in a row. That's it.
In a row?
No, I'm talking about in a deck in the.
No, but that's
Chelsea still won Prem in
Bro,
that time.
United was dominating
Arsenal won
the
Prem
league.
in that time.
United was dominating the league. And who were the competition?
What, he said from 2000 to 2010?
Who was their competition?
I'll answer your question. From 2000 to 2010, Chelsea and Arsenal won Prems in that time. From 2000 and 2010,
I'm
Chelsea and
asking
Arsenal won
who
that
was
Prem.
their competition?
Chelsea, Arsenal.
Okay, within that time, right? Let's say go back the past 10 years, right?
Yes.
We've had teams like Tottenham, Leicester, Arsenal, Chelsea, City, United, all compete for Prems.
Who's won the Prems?
Bro, I'm asking the question.
City and Liverpool.
And the pool is small. The pool is small of how many people won, how many teams won the Prem over the area you're talking about.
The argument's valid because when United were winning Prems, Arsenal would win one in between
So
the
it's
ones they won.
like you telling me that a few people. Sorry.
However, player for player, I'm not talking about dominance of the league. We're talking player for player.
Yeah.
If you're saying that, like I said, name me the player because it can't be Kroos and Modric at the age that they are. Name me the guy right now in the world who, when Kevin De Bruyne says, "I'm done being the best," who's the guy?
Do you know why they still stand out? We'll go back to your question,
Yeah,
but do you know
no,
why they
by all
still
means,
stand
by all
out? Because their technical prowess is above what we have now. I
Yeah.
agree with you. There's more PMP in the game right now. There's more
Yeah.
athleticism, more pace and power.
There's more
I
athletes in football
definitely
now.
agree with
There's
you.
way more
But for
athletes in football
technical prowess, we are robbed in
Yeah.
comparison to what we had before.
We were just
Can I
about
say
Beckham.
something? Can I say something to you? I'm not disagreeing with that point.
Okay.
But to then transition that into De Bruyne won't stand out because of that.
Not as much.
That's my only thing I'm arguing against.
Not as much.
That's
That
my
makes
only
sense.
thing I'm arguing
Because
against.
it's not just KDB's tech why he stands out.
Yeah.
Regardless of what game it is, more time like a lot of people like to say Kane doesn't show up in big games. I even heard something earlier to say Henry didn't score in any of his finals. I don't know how true that. That's
Irrelevant stuff.
Mad, innit? It's very mad.
That's
actually
irrelevant.
It's very mad. Yeah.
KDB will stand up semi-final, final, quarter-final. He's about. So to say that he won't stand out.
So did
but back
Zidane.
then- but back
So
then,
did
so did all the
Seydorf.
other guys.
So did.
But can I say
Thanks for
something?
comparing him with
What
those
does
kind
that
of players.
mean?
But hold on.
Thanks for
I'm not-
comparing those players. Yes.
I didn't once compare.
How can you not compare? You're saying that the technical prowess here and now in this era is better than it was then.
No.
De Bruyne is the best of this era.
what are you
Zidane
talking
was the
about?
best of that era. So why would you not
De Bruyne?
compare?
You said De
Why would you not
Bruyne.
bring it back?
Let's
Bring
go
it
back.
back.
Bring it back.
Bring it back.
Go
Your
on.
statement was
Say that
De
again,
Bruyne
please.
won't be special back then.
Yeah,
That's what we arguing.
No, I said no. I said
But you
he won't be
can't argue
as
against that
special.
point,
That's what I'm
bro.
saying. He's
will-
the only
as
one.
special, even more.
He's
Back
not.
then.
He's the only one right now. In that era, there was
there's so
more
many
of them.
So we're not
He's
saying
the only one right now.
We're not saying that you're not seeing clips of him. What we're saying is because there's so many. As I said, there's Rui Costa, but Zidane exists. There's Pirlo, but this other guy exists. And you can go play Seydorf.
Seydorf was better than De Bruyne.
Player for player, and there's so many of those guys. Guti, as you said, most underrated player for you is getting outshined, but he's in that Real Madrid Galacticos team. So when we're looking at Kevin De Bruyne now, and we put Kevin De Bruyne's skill set and what he does now, and put him back then, he's amongst gods. He's not amongst gods right now.
That's
Not
what
yet.
man's trying to say.
Not yet.
All right.
Saying,
Not
yeah,
yet.
he's
Who's that?
31. What are you talking about?
Bro, you still got world class ability in Jude. You still got
Ability, but we're talking about that.
Right now
you want
in
to
the
compare players who has finished and done their career compared to players that are coming up.
The only guys that Kevin De Bruyne is in and amongst in this God conversation as far as football
Modric.
is Modric and Tony Kroos.
Players at the
When
end of
we
their
look
careers.
No, but hear me out. When we look back then, there were so many of them. We're not saying Kevin De Bruyne is not special. We're saying it's
when
not
you
sticking
say,
out.
When you, I agree with you about how much it was then compared to now.
Yes.
But when you're saying there's so many of them, he's not sticking out. Who? If you're putting this KDB at then, who are you putting ahead of him?
Zidane's ahead of him for me.
Obviously.
Seydorf.
Yes.
What?
Seydorf.
Seydorf's argument.
What?
Seydorf's argument for me.
Exactly. So
His
Go
argument.
on. No,
His argument.
so I'm asking, who is
Three
ahead
Champions
of him?
Leagues.
No arguing. Like,
Shout
who's
me.
ahead of him? Let's not. Can I
No,
just
for
say
me,
something?
Seydorf. I'm saying.
I know it's for you, but you're saying
No,
you're
to
saying
be-
3 Champions Leagues, and I just said to you, I heard Henry didn't score in a final.
Yes.
So let's not do that
So,
accolade
Kels,
thing.
Okay, no, but he was instrumental in those Champions Leagues.
Who's
though.
above? Give me
Among
players.
He was
Yeah,
instrumental.
among God.
He was instrumental in those Champions Leagues for Ajax, for Madrid, for Milan. He was instrumental in those.
Right, so then say that. Don't say 3
Okay,
Champions
cool.
Leagues,
Okay.
because that's
So, Kels,
he was instrumental in
we're
those
saying
wins.
Zidane, you're saying Seydorf.
Seydorf is a
No,
better.
can I say
Save your chest. Seydorf is a
I'm
better player than
asking
De
for-
Bruyne.
Hold on.
Seydorf is better than De Bruyne.
What I'm asking for Wait.
I've got a whole video on that. Seedorf is better.
Make sure he's
Seedorf is better than De Bruyne.
No, bro, I'll be
Right.
honest with you. I'm not even really entertaining it. But what I'm saying is,
100%.
I'm asking for like a consensus. So
Yeah.
that's debatable. Like, I don't think so.
Yeah,
Damien
you
don't think so. You said it's an argument.
Yeah.
He obviously thinks so.
Yeah.
I
So
know
we're
it's
all
not
agreeing.
true. There's a difference. I know.
Them man that were watching football when Seedorf was about.
I told you I don't
Them
care.
man that were watching football. Them man that only know Adrian Mutu and beyond that. Them man that were watching football beyond that, bro.
Wait. I don't want to stray.
Yeah, bro.
And he was watching football and he made that statement. And he was watching football and he made that
I'm
statement.
more qualified to make that statement than you because if you haven't seen Clarence Seedorf play in his prime, how can you say that?
All right, wait. I don't want to
man,
stray. I don't want to
you
stray.
watch
Hear me
both
out.
of them play in their prime
Hear me out.
and
What I'm asking for is like what we all agree on. So we're all going to agree Zidane. Yeah.
100%, only one.
Who else?
Only one.
Like above.
Above De Bruyne.
No, who are we saying like definitely? Obviously, there can all be
saying
arguments.
And your King's goals above him.
Wait. So there's all going to be arguments, and then if we got into the argument and we debate, we can all agree, yeah, he probably is above him. But I'm saying like, hands down now, Zidane. Who else?
Beckham.
This is what I'm saying. Can I have a serious conversation?
At CM, I don't think so. At CM Beckham,
What can one do that
He's
the other
among
one?
gods.
Look.
He's among gods.
Can I say something?
What can one do that the other
No,
one?
Xavi was back there.
Can I
back
say
then.
something? Can I say something?
Oh, if it's an argument.
You're proving
okay,
my
cool,
point.
yeah, cool,
If
cool,
it's
cool,
an
cool, cool.
argument,
Okay.
even if it's 3-on-1, 3-on-1,
against one.
Okay,
majority.
yeah. Okay.
We're saying Zidane. Who else?
Okay.
He's saying Seedorf, which is an argument, but
We're not talking about
but I can hit
arguments.
argument.
We're talking
There's
talking
four of
about-
us.
Yeah.
There's four of
100%.
us. At least, let's get 3-on-1. Yeah.
Okay.
In terms of we
So
agree.
that's 2
Okay,
against
cool,
2
cool.
with the Seedorf one.
All right. So we got
Okay.
Zidane.
Zidane, Seedorf's 2 against 2.
Been that.
I would say I'm not going to put Beckham at centre mid. I am going to put Scholes in that conversation though, and I'll put Xavi in that conversation as well. You can't argue Xavi. You just can't. It's
Above
impossible.
him.
Above him.
I still literally put Xavi still in, in this.
Deeper. All right. So you're
No,
saying
it's more.
Yeah. Pause. Do you know what it is? I don't want to seem to be being like. I don't want to seem to be saying nah just to support my argument.
No, I hear it, but I'm saying Xavi.
But I think Xavi, Iniesta. I feel like Xavi's definitely a debate. Iniesta's more. I'm more inclined to say yeah, but I still think it's a debate.
I don't think Xavi's I don't think either one of those 2 players can be a debate.
Oh, I think so.
You know
Iniesta's
what?
better.
I think De Bruyne's got way more
Ini-
clutch moments.
Did who? Iniesta.
Definitely Xavi. That's what I said.
I think-
Iniesta's
Okay, not. Yeah, but, okay.
For me, it's very.
And they do it both for club and
It's
country.
difficult because they're different players.
And they do it
That's
for
why-
both club and
I'm
country.
just talking about position, but I hear what you're saying.
And they do it for both club and country.
And that's what I was gonna say. I'm gonna say that
Iniesta.
those players.
And Xavi, they do it for both club and country.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if De
I
Bruyne,
think if we're thinking back then, Zidane, I'm
I
saying
think if
Zidane's
De Bruyne
not
had 2
debate.
more people from,
No
from his
debate.
country, that's
And yes, it's not a debate for me.
I'm willing
you just
to
see
accept,
that
I'm
the
willing
belt-
to accept that.
What? Say that again.
If De Bruyne,
Yeah.
the same way you had Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets playing for Spain, right?
I would even put Busquets in the argument, but I know.
No.
I
I'm
know he
talking
plays
about
DM.
No, but
Yeah.
I know
Just
he plays
because what he
no.
is.
I'm talking
I
about
know,
what he
but
did, to which enabled Iniesta and
he's-
Xavi to do what they do. You agree with
eye
that, right?
test, bro.
Okay.
No,
if,
he's
if
cold.
Belgium
but
had players
I
of
feel
those
like it's
of
hard to
that
compare
ilk
them to.
around De Bruyne, you'd probably see a much way better, much more better achieving Belgium team. Not saying that team wasn't great. They had the golden generation.
That Belgian team, and I hear you because the difference.
Because Witsel is not it.
You know what Spain has
Hazard is though.
Dembele,
But
Dembele couldn't stay fit.
You know that argument. You know what Spain has over. You know what Spain has over Belgium coaching.
Coach, yeah.
And a philosophy that is not only in their league but translates through every player into their national team.
That's fact.
Yeah.
Whereas Belgium didn't have that.
And half the team
And
played for Barca. The team was Barca and 2 Madrid man. So I hear it.
The chemistry for that team was
Yeah.
elite.
And then you sprinkle Carzola here and there and
But Iniesta was still cold.
yeah.
So I say all of this to say it. If we're saying, even if we take the arguables,
Yeah.
Seedorf, crazy.
No, it's not.
Iniesta, Xavi,
Xavi,
really not.
Iniesta. I'll put Seedorf at the bottom of that list.
No.
No, but I'm just saying, let's just take all of it.
And even with
That's
his
gonna be
individual-
an episode, 100%. I'm
Bro.
good with
Yeah.
that.
Bro.
Yeah, but let me land.
Yeah,
Seedorf,
go on.
Xavi, Iniesta, Zidane.
Yeah.
There was another shout
Did someone say Pirlo? I don't know.
I put Pirlo in there.
above De Bruyne.
Above at the time. Yeah.
All right, Pirlo.
At the time. Yeah.
That's us saying. That's 5. That's us saying.
Yeah.
De Bruyne in and around that time even though we're kind of going over that
Yeah,
timeline.
it's a interesting period.
Even if we
Kaka.
agree,
Yeah, he's up there.
that's top
Yeah,
6, bro.
yeah.
Kaka.
I wouldn't.
But
I wouldn't.
I'm not
I wouldn't, but I'm
not
saying I can have an argument.
I'm not saying. We were just saying he doesn't stick out as much because he's the only
But
one
this is what
now.
I'm trying to say. I agree with you. He doesn't stick out as much.
Yeah.
But if we're
That's
still
the original
saying,
argument.
Huh?
That's the original argument.
That's what we're saying, yeah.
A God amongst God is a God, but a God amongst people who are regular is gonna be lauded.
That's what man's saying.
But it waters it down. If you're saying man like Rui Costa and that, yeah, we know they're cold, but for me, they're not KDB.
No, I hear it, but what I'm saying about the argument, I'm not saying he's
Sorry,
better than him.
name me 2 Rui Costa games, Rui Costa performances.
Nah, wait, no,
Bro, no, stop, no, shut up, man. So you're talking like you know who Rui Costa is, bro. I got the ball.
I don't give a fuck.
You haven't seen Rui Costa play, so stop talking like that, bro. No one's talking like you see Rui Costa play, bro. Who did Rui Costa play for?
95% of the people that be watching this will not know. I will not have seen Rui Costa.
Who did Rui Costa play for? So why are you making comment then?
I'm just saying the people watching it.
Who did Rui Costa play for? Name me 2 teams he played for.
He played for Portugal.
AC Milan and Benfica.
I'm Fiorentina. Right, you're talking big.
He played for the
AC
club that he's a
boss.
chairman at right now.
Bro.
He says a lazy pass.
No, I said he was an AC
AC
boss.
boss, yeah. Fiorentina.
Look,
No, I was. I was
performances were-
quoting,
bro.
'cause I thought you just gave us a quote because that comment was a lazy pass.
I'm not trying to hear. That's what I'm not trying to hear it, bro. Bro, if you haven't watched these players play, I'm not trying to hear
You
it,
tell
bro.
me Rui Costa is better than De Bruyne.
I'm saying don't make no comment if you haven't even seen the player play.
So was my comment wrong?
Huh?
Was my comment wrong?
Even Rakoba.
I can hear.
No,
it.
I'm asking. Was my
Even
comment wrong?
Rakoba.
I can,
Even
not,
Rakoba what?
not better than Kevin De Bruyne.
Even Raquelme. We're not talking about these man.
I can hear it.
But we're talking about players better than De Bruyne. blood.
No, I'm saying
You got-
these men were all in one era.
Got Aymar as well.
Yeah, they were all in one era.
Hear what I'm saying.
De Bruyne would be up there. I'm not saying he's not going to be up there, but I'm saying there was much
you're
more
amongst
guys
guys, you're a god.
to what I'm
that
saying,
were
listen to
doing
I'm
what De
saying.
Bruyne was
Listen to what
doing.
I'm saying. But this is why I disagree. I agree with the sentiments. There was way more of them
Yeah.
players. I want to say It's a sound effect. You get me? There was way more of them. But amongst them, he's still up there. This is my point.
Yeah. I'm not saying
that was
he's
the
not
argument.
up there.
That was the argument.
I'm saying he
The argument
doesn't
was,
stand out as much.
He's not going to stand out as much because there's more.
That's all.
There's a bigger sample size. But nowadays, Kevin De Bruyne is doing what he's doing.
Maybe I don't like the words. He's not going to stand out as much. Maybe
I hear that. I hear that.
Maybe that's what's
you know
getting
what?
to me.
You know what it is,
Because
right?
do you know what it is as well? Sorry to cut you. I think the fact that he does it in so many big games, and we're putting a lot of currency on that these days. You get me? Like even that Henry stat, that blew my mind. Pause, 'cause
Yeah.
like for how I rate him, that's mad. And then obviously Kane's getting that kind of getting that label now.
Yeah.
So for how much he does in big games, I think that adds a lot of value to his source. So when I'm saying he wouldn't stand out as much, like all I'm saying is he'll be up there in that pool. But with Viewless' original point, I agree.
So
100%,
let's
I
talk.
agree.
Let's talk.
In the
Let's talk logic,
original
right?
pool.
Let's talk. Let's
I
talk
agree, I
logic,
agree.
right? Let's talk logic. So okay? I'll agree to disagree, right? So let me just agree with you guys, right? There was more mandem of that ilk back then than there is now, right?
Yeah.
And we basically can agree that a lot of those men of that ilk was not better than De Bruyne.
Yeah.
So you not think that it will stand out above on a higher pyramid. So what we say is that De Bruyne right now is on a pyramid where there's not many players of that ilk. So that pyramid is not as high. You agree?
Yeah.
If you go back then, where that pyramid was higher because you got one of that ilk, De Bruyne will still be top of that pyramid.
Yeah, we top 6.
Yeah.
Minimum.
So how you gonna say
Top six.
He won't be top of the period.
How can you not be stand out more when you tell me that he's got more competition?
He won't be top of the period.
No, Zidane, but
no.
we
But
know
what I'm saying is that I guess
There'll be
what
debates.
Kels is saying. If you look like all right, so I'll even shit on United. Like if you look at some of the passes he played when we lost 6-3, like not even the ones that were just for goals, just his pass ID, it just all over the pitch and controlling the game and being in different spots. My argument isn't that he's not great. He is the best in this era. That era back then, although I would probably argue that yes, he is better than the Pablo Aymars or this guy, that guy. They were doing that too. There's not a lot of guys who could do what Kevin De Bruyne does right now. You know what I'm saying? But then back then, there's so many guys who could do what Kevin De Bruyne does. It's just the difference is that you're looking at Kevin De Bruyne in the toughest league or the most competitive league.
They say.
And you're saying, boom, this guy is the guy that's doing it week in, week out consistently. But there was me and Kel's argument is there are guys consistently in many different leagues and many different situations, even if they weren't winning the league in their league. So for instance, Pablo Aymar is at Valencia. Valencia wasn't really touching Real Madrid and Barca in those eras, but he was pulling passes like that out his ass every week, and I don't think he's better than Kevin De Bruyne. But the point is that there was more of a sample size back then of guys who can do these things. I'm not saying Premier League footballers can't do it now. Yeah. I'm saying when Kevin De Bruyne does it, we scream.
And without going too far into another argument, I think the reason for that, this may be another episode as well. The reason for that, I think players are back then players were allowed to be Pablo Aimar.
Yeah,
I think now you've got Nabil Fekir, and they get built up to something, and then they go off the ball. You got Aouar.
They go hard ball.
All these players, I think, had the same. Well, probably at 18, 19, were at the same level as what Pablo Aimar was at 18, 19. But then they don't.
I mean, I even know, like, for instance, I even know Ozil don't play same position. He can play like a roaming 8.
Yeah,
but even what Ozil's capable of in the passes in the pass ID that he has, like I would say the same thing about him. You put him in that era. He's just another god. He's just another guy who can do it.
I think he's the closest player to Guti. If you really,
Ozil.
Yeah.
And look how Guti weren't rated.
Yeah.
Not to say weren't rated, but look how he wasn't as rated as much as
if you
the
love
rest.
ball,
if
you love ball, Guti was a
I can
god.
agree that in any generation you got underrated players. We can agree on that.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm trying to say though. Like look at like we're talking about before we started shooting. Like look at Berbatov for instance, right? Berbatov's probably like got the best touch I've ever seen.
Yeah, man.
But then if you say like, all right, cool, put him around Henry and R9 and Van Nistelrooy and all these guys.
Which he was
at Bayer Leverkusen. You're looking at it, you're thinking, no one cared that he played for Bayer Leverkusen when Zidane scored that volley against him in the Champions League final. No one gave a shit. You understand? But that doesn't diminish who he is.
Yeah.
So now he's going to Spurs, he's got his move to United, all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, Dimitar Berbatov, because he's doing something we're not seeing.
That's the thing.
And that's
everyone is just laser focused on the Prem, and the here and now. That's my problem with the argument.
So when he was in Germany, he might have had he definitely had the same touch. We just don't give a shit. You understand?
Younger, fitter.
But why don't we give a shit? Because R9 is doing 2-2 step overs and leaving keepers on their backside. We don't give a shit because Henry's running past guys. And
they were doing it weekly.
We don't give a shit.
They were doing it weekly.
But when he goes to Spurs and the league is not. The competition wise, in terms of the guys around him,
Henry's not around no more. R9's retiring.
Paying attention. So the argument Kevin De Bruyne is that at this particular moment, when he does it, oh shit. Joe, but then when they were doing it back then,
do you know what? I also think as well.
I'm used to that.
I also think as well. The media.
Because I hear
I've
what
got a part to play.
I'm just saying when you look at it through that scope.
No, and like I said, I agree. Go on,
I also think the media have a part to play in it as well. Because all right, I'll give you an example. Joe Willock played an outrageous pass.
That ball was stupid.
Against Tottenham.
Was it?
That's the only outrageous pass he's ever played.
It was outrageous.
That's from the left, isn't it?
That ball was stupid.
He didn't get the. If it was De Bruyne, I
100%.
promise you, it will be on Sky Sports' reels for the 2023.
Yeah, but do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? But that's why, like, without being a football snob, that's why man say, like, that's why you kind of have conversations and you say, like, you kind of know who watches ball and who doesn't ball. Yeah. I'm trying to say, like, so even when we're having this conversation about Guti and that, like, obviously for those who are old enough, like, for those who watch ball will know, and for those who watch highlights don't. Like, it's one of them, man.
Welcome to the Near Post Podcast. You are through, you are here. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and subscribe.
Subscribe twice. That's why you can't do this.